Lean Sweet family, and welcome to another Lean Sweet feature, Lean Sweet Spotlight. Today, we have an amazing guest, someone I'm actually a big fan of. We have literally been featuring this person for the last 6, 7, 8 years. I can't even count how long I've known this man, but I've literally watched him go from his work in New York, his work in Philly and Boston, and so on, watching all his different lines come out. And last year, I was excited to see the Project Runway season 19 lineup release. And who was on there? The beautiful, the fabulous, the electric Prajjé Jean Baptiste of Prajjé line. I said that right?
Yes, you did.
I'm so excited to have you here today. We were following you all last year for season 19 of Project Runway, but have been a big fan of yours, have watched the growth. I just got an email for the new line and I'm like, I want everything. So welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing today?
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. That new line was like the product of coronavirus.
Ah, oh yeah,
Yes,
we have to have a
yes,
whole separate conversation about that in a little bit.
yeah,
But
yeah,
one of the key things people are going to remember you from most recently was Project Runway season 19. Now,
yes,
of course, we made sure we mentioned this. You grew up in Haiti and then you moved to US when you were about 14,
13.
right? And
Yeah,
13, and then went to
yeah.
school for fashion. So tell us a little bit about the kid that went from Haiti to here, and now you're on TV on Project Runway. Tell us what that journey's been like.
It definitely been a tough journey. It's definitely been a long journey, as you know. But I was born in Haiti, grew up there, very, very hard time in Haiti. So everything that's happening in Haiti now are not new or news to me because I've lived them myself as a kid. I moved to the US when I was 13 to Boston. I attended North Cambridge Catholic High, went to Massart. I went to Rizzi Massart, graduated from Massart, and then from there, produced Fashion Week in Boston for a while, realized I'm wasting all my money. So I decided to pack up and went to New York, and from New York, there. So it's been definitely a tough journey. It was culture shock all the way to like my mid-20s, close to 30s. Coming from Haiti as a teenager and being in this country, right into school, right into fashion. So everything was just like boom, 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 right there. And then from there, we just hustle and hustle. You fell off the horse, you get right back on. And that's my motto. Fell off the horse, get right back on until we find ourselves on Project Runway.
One thing I loved about you is the fact that you haven't taken a break. From the first year I was introduced to you to now, I don't think it's been a single year to where I didn't see you involved in something. I remember the year where I want to say you did the fashion show at the embassy in DC and you were dressed in all these. There hasn't been a time where I haven't seen you working in some way, shape, or form. And with this industry, fashion industry, Black man, Haitian, like it's not easy already. So what have you done to make sure you're always working and definitely always in the headlines somewhere?
For me, it was very important to always keep the Prajjé brand before Prajjé 1983. Now, Prajjé brand always and some sort of publication, magazine, news, some runway, even if business wasn't so great on the inside, but it was important to me that the name was, it was still part of conversation because once you are no longer part of the conversation, you lose your seat at the table. And I worked very, very hard since I was 13 to have my little bench by the table and I was not losing it for anyone. So I've worked, I've never taken a break during college. I remember I did full-time college. I had a full-time job and then I was designing and I was producing shows for some of the universities, BU, UMass, most of the universities. And that's where I built my career from college shows. And literally continuing. And I think it's my mother's fault because when I came to the country, I came on a Saturday, literally on Monday, she enrolled me in some summer camp. And I never had a vacation since then. I've never been to spring break. Fun facts.
What?
Never been to spring break.
So you've just been working nonstop.
Every time the school is done, I'm enrolled in something else. If it's Easter break, spring break, Christmas break, whatever break it is, I'm enrolled in something.
So that concept of never stop working, never not working is definitely you 100%. Okay, so
Yeah.
even with that said, have you enjoyed it? Like, do you have moments to where you've kind of stopped and paused? Because you've been working nonstop, but you've done a lot of amazing things.
Yes. I do have those moments, and definitely my last 3 years in New York were that moment where I actually closed. Prajjé Oscar has been functioning on a closed house. We have not been running on the inside. Everything you've seen are old collection. My last collection was Ezuli, and then the most previous one was Dahomey. But Dahomey was created because I was working with the First Lady in Haiti on a project with Dubai, and I had to do some new stuff, and I did it just so we could go to Dubai. And then things happened. We never made it to Dubai. Coronavirus happened, and then we know the president assassinated. So that never got there. But I'm pretty sure by now the collection would have changed to go to Dubai to a higher thing. But that's what it was there for. It wasn't so much like it was my collection to come out for the season. It was something very specific. But I did, pull the plug. I did say this is a restart. That's why I'm in Philly. I literally got up and moved to Philly within 24 hours.
Wow.
With nowhere to go, don't know. I have one brother here, no apartment, nothing. Literally finding an address for storage as I'm on the bus while my driver is moving the truck to Philly. Put myself in storage, move to Philly, find me my first apartment in the city, stay with my brother for a while, and then I got involved with Philly Fashion Week. I'm the creative director for Philly Fashion Week now. I've done many things to keep the conversation happening, to keep busy, still be in the room. And then now Project Runway happened, and we literally are getting ready to start all over again.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. No, you're the definition of like never not working.
Never not working.
So let's talk about the Prajjé Oscar. So it was Prajjé Oscar in 1983 at one point, and now it's just Prajjé Oscar. Let's talk a
That's
little bit
great.
about, because you say your grandma has a lot of influence in your work, like your designs, the look, like we can't really kind of put your line with any other line we've seen. And even with everything you've done, one thing we never miss in your design, I see us all up and through that thing.
Um, I feel it's not like I feel. I have a responsibility towards Haiti. I was born in Haiti. I grew up in Haiti. I did homework at Machiamba. I walked from Machiamba to my house in Bel Air. I know what Matakulu looks like, what it smells like. I know that entire area. I know what a coup d'etat is. I know what these kids are dealing with each and every day. So that's why it is very important that the Prajjé Oscar brand is built with Haiti as its potomitan. Now, I've always correct people, this is not a Haitian brand. Don't box it. But this is a brand that is built on Haitian heritage, Haitian legacy, the excellence and the pride and joy that we've always heard the Gamoun used to say, that we no longer see. That is the potomita, the foundation of the brand, while we put the culture out there in a more modern, luxurious way where it is respected and valued, which is very important and something that we don't see very often when attached to Haiti. So it's important to me that the brand is always Haiti. My grandmother is a very big piece of that because she raised me. She did the first part before I was, my adopted parents took me here. And then that's why there is a very French vibe, and there's also a vintage vibe. So that these two women, I would say, were the only two I would, especially coming from Haiti. My grandmother was the only one I knew into Black fashion because I used to play in her clothes when she's at the marché, at La Venda Marché. So I would put on her clothes, her heels, her pearls, her gloves. That was the whole story with the gloves at Project Runway because I was introduced to gloves from my grandmother's closet as a kid. So, yeah.
So let's talk about Project Runway, for example. You've been doing all this work and you get this call or you find out that you're going to be on the show. What was that like?
Let me tell you, I'll be very honest with you. I've received an email from Project Runway for the past 15 years, every casting, and the answer is delete.
No way.
Delete. I did All on the Line with Josie, and I really hated the way things went. And from reading that was just when social media was just starting, to read what the people were saying and and whatever was there. I don't even remember if it was MySpace or whatever it was.
Probably
the
Facebook.
the comment didn't sit well with me, and I was taking heat for something that was partially my fault. I was young, I wasn't really ready, but I wanted the opportunity. But at the same time, a lot of camera BS did happen, and I was like, I am never going on TV again for my work. Never, never. So every year, Project Runway, and mind you, I've always wanted to go to Project Runway. I built learning and training to go on, and then after that, I was like, no. For the past 15 years, delete, delete, delete. Until right before coronavirus happened, I was producing the last show at Philly Fashion Week, and I keep getting these messages from Project Runway. I'm like, what the hell? And my assistant say, what's wrong? And she's like, oh my God, Project Runway has been reaching out to you. And when I mean reaching out, honey, reaching out. DM, emails, phone calls, all of it. To a point where my assistant actually took the application, filled the application. And when I was done producing the last show at Philly Fashion Week, and literally show up to me and say, here, sign here. And I'm like, what is this other application? She's like, you're going. Because I don't understand why you're not going. You have nothing else to lose. And then I really had to step back and realize, honestly, at that point, I had nothing else to lose. Because from New York, the last 3 years of New York went that great. You know, there's a lot of dark moment, depression, and being very alone. I took a job, and the job got up here. Fashion went completely down. So I was out of fashion. So I needed to find my way back and find my way again as a designer. Despite all the stuff you're seeing on social media, inside it was just like, it was a struggle to get back to designing. And then I did miss the deadline. They say, oh no, don't worry, we extend your
You're like, listen, we've been calling you for 15 years. What deadline?
I literally put in the stuff, and it did take some time, but I was getting answered faster than some people that I knew around me that had applied. So I knew there was an interest there. So I kept it on the low. And then pandemic happened. So it got stretched to all the way to last year. And then literally in like March, I got this call, and I was like, oh, this is you calling me to tell me you don't want me? They're like, oh, actually, no, we're calling to tell you, are you ready to represent Philly? I'm like, yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh my God. So now that you've done it, like you were so nervous, you were so worried, you went on the show, you did an amazing job. You know, fans love you. You were definitely a fan favorite. Every week we'd be on Twitter. We would read the tweets because we wanted to also find out how everybody else felt about you outside of the Haitian community. You were a fan favorite. You definitely did not play with these judges. So how do you feel now that you actually did it?
Besides the fact that I'm mad at them, I feel like that whole unconventional should have been in the beginning of the competition so we can get it off the way. Maybe somebody else could have done home. Because to be quite honest with you, it was difficult to read the judges to know what they wanted. And then you go there every day with fear, like, what is gonna happen? What do they want? It is really, really that stressful and dramatic because you don't know. And I really started to get my confidence back after the gloves. And then we got to avant-garde. And then, honey, I was ready to unleash the beast. And
they
throw me. The first punch was like, comfy chic. I'm not comfy chic. I don't wear clothes. Like, you tell me about something about coronavirus, what do you wear? I'm usually naked. That's facts. And then the next one was unconventional, which I made it very clear that I'm not gonna. I've been trying to do this for 20 years, trying to pay my bills. I don't remember the last time I picked up a piece of paper or glue to glue something to do unconventional. I'm more like trying to pay the bills type of designer, not being unconventional. So I had a rough time with it. I love the experience. I met some amazing people. It's good to be part of the Bravo and PRAJJE family because when we went to the finale, we saw everybody. It was good to see all the other cast members. There is a real like family there. So I'm really glad I did it. I think at the end of the day, it's like fear. It's that fear always stop you, and don't let fear stop you. Whoever's watching this, it's always the fear. You have to find a way to overcome that fear, and then you find that you're good. It's not like I didn't think I was good enough. I know I was a good designer. It's just that I didn't want to be the first one to get sent home.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
And you weren't, and you definitely was not the first one, to get sent home. It really was a pleasure watching you every week. Like, you really gave us good TV. Okay. So we definitely appreciate you for that. And so my next question to you is, now that you've done the show, you've seen the response with people else, does it change anything for you and with the direction you go in fashion and what you do, or are you still in, you know, the same wavelength I guess you were right before the show?
In terms of aesthetic wise, it did not change anything. I don't think it's going to change anything because people are loving it because of the story. And then the story is what the brand is built based on. It's a story about the luxury of Haiti, the, you know, the culture, the traditions, the things that you don't usually people speak of in that regard, or on a stage like Project Runway. So it almost become like, now you need to commit to this and then move forward. But in terms of the design wise, of course, I did learn a lot from Project Runway. So we are like, you know, the switch just go like up.
Yeah, it's all the way up now.
Yeah, it's all the way up. We're in the room. We're outside now. So we kind of have to like be ready to stand along with among the great designers that come out of that show, and also who are out there, because people are taking notice. The phone's ringing, emails are coming in. So it's like, okay, this is good. This is good. But the, you know, the vision of the brand and what we represent, it remains, because if it's not, I mean, look at Haiti right now. All you're hearing talking about is politics and distress and earthquake. You don't hear about fashion, and the young kids, the young generation in Haiti needs to hear and see these things happening. That's what gives them hope to kind of keep moving and really want to keep working and never stop, even when you start up the horse to get back on. If they don't see people doing great stuff in all the different sectors, they're gonna be depressed and sit there and think that all their worth is earthquakes and, you know, assassination and everything else. When, you know, so it's very important. So now it become like, yes, now we're moving forward with this.
I love it. So even with that being said, what advice would you give to these young, you know, fashion designers? Because one thing I've learned these last couple of years about fashion design, or fashion period, it's one thing to watch y'all and see it, but I've had the chance to be behind the scenes and seen how long some of you guys have worked on these lines and these brands, and some make it, some don't. And some people you hear about 2 or 3 years, and after that you don't hear about them anymore, especially even with like Black designers or Haitian designers. So what advice would you give to any young up and coming designer right now that just not sure?
Any young up and coming designer is like you just said, I am working on my collection now for September. It's almost a whole year. It's preparation. Like Andre Leon Talley say, as somebody that I idolized for years, make sure you know your information, do your research, educate yourself. And now that the great thing about where we are now in society, you don't have to go to a great university to learn how to properly construct a collection or garment. You can go on YouTube, and I think we saw it on Project Runway. You know, many of the people from that cast learned from YouTube, and they were very open about it. And I think in that case, you can go, if you don't know something, reach out to somebody. Make sure when you're coming into fashion, you understand this is an industry, you respect it, you respect the craft of it, and you respect the hustle as well. Educate yourself, learn, and have a proper plan that is realistic, that makes sense, but have one so you know what direction you're going, or you're just going to be making clothes. So you have to really, that's where the designer part comes, not so much a seamstress. You can be a seamstress and a designer, but to be a designer, you have to think about everything. You have to think about PR, publicity. You have to be diplomatic. You have to know how to make clothes, which is number one. You need to know how to sell your clothes. All that, you can figure that out if you have a plan, and have a very basic, but it keeps you focused. It keeps you right at, you know, your eye on the money.
Oh, I love it. I'm so happy you said that, because that's one of the things like I normally get, you know, with people every day, especially in the Haitian community. You have all these people that's like, you know, they have all this other stuff. They don't think about marketing. They don't think about PR. They don't, you know, but it's like, guys, this is supposed to be a full package. So I'm so happy you said that.
It's a full package. Your brand should be your brand, even in writing or in imagery, even in sound. Like, you can close your eyes if you go on Instagram, you see, oh, somebody's a fashion show, and then you hear the song, like, oh, this probably Prajjé, because you already know it's gonna be something of that regard. Or you see the lettering, you know it's Prajjé, because they use that. Everything count in this business, and the people on really on top, at the top tier of the table, who's selecting people to go on Project Runway or whatnot, they pay attention to these things. That's what they look for. They want to look to see how you different from the designer around you, and these things are what separates you, that you're ready for this.
Nice, beautiful. So what would you say was the biggest surprise, especially since you're afraid to go on a show, you're like, ah, what would you say was the biggest surprise watching the reality show and being on it?
Um, Coming from another reality show, I kind of already knew its production. There's gonna be cutting and twisting in there. My biggest surprise was that I wasn't expecting the cast to be so friendly. And we actually got very close, really fast. And some of us broke off really fast too. I won't lie. There's more drama in Project Runway than there's at Real Housewives.
Oh,
Oh no, some of us are pros. We just learned how to keep our dramas off camera.
yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, we didn't get to see any of
Let me tell you, I think after drama number 2 and number 1 and 2 for me, I was very happy that they did not play the rest. I'm like, listen, no more. I don't want any more heat. Because Karen was after me literally like until Christmas, even now. Like you see Prajjé, some people really find that, got some problem with that. But that was to me, that was what was surprising. Everything else, I kind of knew what I was walking into. And I spent a whole year exercising, meditating, practicing, my craft and everything. I really was getting ready for this. I guess I was going to the Olympics. But I really was preparing, mentally, physically to go into this competition. And if you're planning on going, do the same. It's no joke.
Good information to have. So of course, Project Runway definitely open you up in your brand, your business, and you personally to a larger audience. So what are you looking forward to as far as now using this larger base this platform and fan base that you have?
Baby, I want to give my fans product that they can afford because I love luxury and I shop as a consumer. I shop vintage because I'm a Zuzu, but I'm not spending the Zuzu money on stuff. So I know where to go get it. So I go vintage and I buy my Chanel for a quarter of what you pay for it in the store. They look the same, but mine is just vintage. So that's who I am. So I've introduced that part into the brand. That's why I use the Miwa line, which is sportswear. That line I designed during the pandemic because nobody was going anywhere. No one's buying $2,000 dress or a skirt. So they needed something nice to wear while they do Zoom meeting. You can see me from here up. So we designed that line and a lot of people were working out. So that's why it's very sporty. It's that there are more to come now. I'm working with a company that does drop ship. I'm going to add more summer stuff, swimsuit and stuff like that. So these things are product that people can just get up and get that's not breaking the bank while we work on the collection pieces. But what I would love to see a red carpet coming up in the next award season. Everyone's in Prajjé Oscar.
Yes.
The Haitian Music Awards, the Kid Festival, all the awards. I want everyone lined up in Prajjé Oscar. Take your pick. That's what I like.
love it. Listen, I've been watching, I've always watched your stuff and I'm like, if I have to do anything big, I have to do any runway stuff, I'm like, listen, I want one of your pieces. But when I saw like the new line, that new line, see your previous stuff is like, I need somewhere fabulous to be going. This new line is what I wear every day. So when I saw the jacket and the bag and everything, I'm like, oh, he did this line for us. This is for the tomboys. This is for us.
It's all from the whole idea of like, I spent my whole entire pandemic naked because I'm not putting clothes on for what? And I know there's a whole group of people that just want to put a sweater on, a t-shirt on that has some pop and color here. They might throw a heel because they're going to meet somebody, but their sneakers is right next to them. So that line is for the hustlers and busters that get up, run, grab some coffee and go. Still want to look decent, but we don't care because we have work to do. So that's that line. But in terms of collection wise, now we're going to start to pull the ready to wear pieces and some, evening wear to remake. And then that's going to be a collection piece. So there's going to be a few different pieces. The 3 piece of my brand is now coming to fruition. The sportswear, the couture, and more like ready to wear stuff.
And how do people find your line, your work? If this is their first time hearing about Prajjé, which I hope that's not the case, how do they find you?
You can find me, trust me, I check. I'm the only Prajjé in the world. You can find me by just putting Prajjé, Prajjé, Oscar. .com, that's the website, or Prajjé Oscar, one word. The other one is my personal page. I get ratchet up there, so don't go there. But Prajjé
Everybody
Oscar,
need one of those.
I know. It's Prajjé Oscar on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, and then my website is prajjeoscar.com. Yeah, you can find me. I'm here. I'm always here.
Oh my gosh, Shelly Messi Peel, thank you so much for being here with us today. It's always fun to catch up and talk to you. Like I said, I'm so excited about your new line, so we'll definitely make sure people know how to find it when we release this interview.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. And thank you for the support, everyone. I'm working for you. You're working for me. We're all good.